If flying cars are so close, then a lot is gonna change. Potentially even more than when we transition from horses to cars. I mean, we're gonna start taking the skies. So I put together a quick list of off-the-bat pros and cons, good things and bad things about flying cars in general. So first con, death. Yeah, we agree with that? Death? With cars, you do have a chance at surviving. If you're flying in the sky and you see like a little emergency light, I don't know, man, that's pretty scary. Like you're no longer just trying to like brake and swivel away. Pretty high chance to die. Obviously, these flying cars will only be legalized once it's super ultra safe, right? It might have to even be fully automated. You might not even be able to drive it yourself unless you have like a special license, right? But as of right now, us simpletons that are used to normal cars, you think of a flying car, first thing you think of as a bad thing, death. How about pros? Less traffic. I mean, think of cities like Los Angeles, Mumbai, Moscow. I mean, these places are crammed. You can't get anywhere. You're stuck in traffic for hours and hours and hours. Imagine you could just zip right over them, get to your final destination in like 10, 15 minutes. That's great. Cons. How do you put signs in the sky? I mean, seriously, do you stick them onto buildings? Do you have floating signs? That would be a massive problem. If the flying cars are fully automated, then they would all be on like an online grid. So they'd all be self-aware of where they are to avoid collision. They know where to turn and where to like elevate or descend to. But if you do want to manually override them, where are the signs? And how do you install signs in the sky? Pros, less roadkill, right? Squirrels can't fly. Deer can't fly. You know, deer love to just jump in the middle of the road. Cons, more air kill. Let's get real. I mean, birds already crash into skyscrapers as it is. Imagine if you had a bunch of whizzing cars surrounding them. Birds would be confused as hell. Most airplanes avoid this because they're flying so high, but if you're flying at like 500 meters, for example, I don't know what the exact height will be. Yeah, you're at bird height. Birds are just gonna get wrecked. Pros, potentially lower pollution. A lot of the cars that we have right now are gas-powered. I would imagine that most flying cars, if not all of them, would already be electric, kind of like a drone. The Xpeng X2 that we saw was fully electric. You actually have the charger at the front. Just press this little secret button, it popped up, and that's how you charge it. The Xpeng X2, if I'm not mistaken, would take about 3 hours to charge and will give you 35 minutes of airtime. Recommended. But the reason why I say lower pollution is because you need to travel shorter distances to get to the same destination. You know, when you're driving on the road and you want to get here, you have to like go this road, this intersection, go around, blah, 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 a couple of stoplights, go around this edge, now go up and down, blah, 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 and then get there. With a flying car, you just go A, B, straight line. So you would be traveling for a less amount of time than if you were doing it in the car. One of the main counter arguments to this though, which I guess would be considered a con, is that you would require a lot of energy for takeoff, landing, and climbing, you know? Just to climb and lift that entire thing, you need a lot of power, a lot of energy. And something that might come as a bit of a surprise to some of you is that electric energy is not as perfect as we are being told. Think of where electricity comes from. So, pros, great view. A lot of us have dreamt of flying. You know, when you're on an airplane, everyone's looking out the window and taking videos and photos, and you only get that little brief period of time before the plane goes too high up and you don't see anything anymore. You get to pretty much control your route. It's a have a great view, you get to fly. It's pretty sick. All right, cons, expensive. Especially with the first generation of flying cars, it's not gonna be cheap. And it's not gonna be for the middle class. It will likely be pretty freaking expensive to buy, to maintain, and to insure. And that doesn't even go into like parking. You know, you might have to park it, I don't know, in a big ass balcony on the roof of your building, or maybe just on the ground, but you will require special parking. So already from the get-go, this will be exclusive for pretty rich people, if we're honest. All right, pro and a con at the same time, littering becomes deadly. Now, I think it's a pro because people will be so much more aware of it. Right now, people throw like a full McDonald's Happy Meal on the highway. Like, it's crazy. But littering becoming so deadly would really make people stop littering, because if you like were to throw an empty can of Coke from the sky and hit someone and you killed them, if there's a potential death penalty for littering, you probably won't do it. So that's why I think it's a pro. It's also a con because the idiot that does litter is gonna maybe hurt someone or kill him. Pros, bear with me, flying drive-thrus. I know this sounds completely absurd, but if you think about it, how freaking cool would a flying drive-thru be? You know, you're up in like, I don't know, a building, and they have this little kind of gate, drive through. You collect your fast food. If I were to wake up in a world with flying drive-thrus where I'm in a flying car and I'm like collecting my drive-thru, seeing the entire city below me, I would feel like, okay, this is it. This is the future. Cons, weather. Hey, I mean, imagine if you're up in the sky and it randomly starts hailing into your propellers. Clack, 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 clack. You see lights blinking. Beep, 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 beep. What do you do? But if it starts raining, or maybe you get struck by lightning, or there's just a lot of wind, imagine everyone's up in the sky, and then you just get a massive gust of wind that for some reason nobody saw coming. It could be absolute mayhem. Pros. Now that cars are flying, they're also gonna have to stylize and decorate the underside. You know how right now cars are on the road and the underside is like full of pipes and tubes and rust? That's because no one looks at them and they don't need to decorate it. But if a car's flying, a lot of people looking up, that's the first thing they're gonna see. So now you're gonna have to get like some sick vents going on the underside, some paint streaks, you know? Maybe a flying Rolls Royce is gonna have the coach line on the underside, you know? I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Cons? Learning to drive it. Again, I think that most of it will be completely autonomous, but if you do want to manually drive your car, there will almost definitely be a super intense, rigorous training course to even get your license for that. I'd imagine it would be pretty much like getting your airplane license. This would probably be extremely expensive and also very, very time consuming. Pros, police chases are gonna be freaking sick. You know, right now, if you go on YouTube or something and you see some police chases, they're pretty cool. You know, some people go off-road, whatever. We all love seeing them. But imagine a sky police chase. I mean, that would be freaking awesome. It would be very dangerous, by the way. I do not condone danger, violence, but a flying police chase, pretty good show. But anyways, those are the general ideas, pros and cons for flying cars. What do you guys think? What is the best part and the worst part about flying cars? Let me know, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time.